It's 6:15 in the morning and I have to get up early to do some jobs because I want to clean my bench off, because I want to get on with my test bench for the LT230s. Anyway, so forgive me if I'm a bit slow. Mark brought me down an LT77 the other day and an LT230. An LT230 was a 1.2 transfer case out of a V8 Discovery 1, but this one was kind of interesting because it turned out to be a 56A suffix G, which means it's a 200 TDI LT77S. Now back in the day these were like chicken's teeth to find, but this was, like I said, it was on the 200 TDI and it had upgraded synchros, so they were nice and smooth. Were they any stronger? Maybe, I don't know. But I was playing around with this the other day and I thought, one of the problems a lot of people have, they want to do their own gearboxes. Okay, so that's easy, isn't it? They want to play around with their own gearboxes because they're not too bad to do, but you need a few tools. And one of the worst tools to find, well, it's not the worst tool to find, but it's the most expensive tool to find, is this little tool here, which takes these collars off. That's how it works, you see. There's a little two collars. I've left the other one off so you can see how it goes. And this pushes on the shaft and draws this collar back. So I've been pondering with that and I thought there must be a better way. So I did a bit of an experiment the other morning on this. And I have this thing here. This is a bearing splitter. Now this was part of my hydraulic tool kit. Alright, so I thought to myself, can you buy them individually? And indeed you can, and you can get them from Prince's Auto. That's the one you want. It's a 1/2 inch to 3 inch or 13mm to 75mm knife-like edges get into spaces, and this is the key, because this little kiddie here we should be able to get into here, and indeed we can. It's tight and it's a tight fit but I experimented with it and it did work, so I want to show you this again because I didn't really film it all that well. So what you got to do first of all is got to take the circlip off here. I'm not going to take that off again, but it's a waste of time. And what we need is some 3/8 stud bar, which I've got here. I've already cut them down, and something like a strong back. Now I had this one on my shelf I'd used for a while. I think I used it for putting Sherpa kingpins in. That's how long ago I've used that. But I drilled 2 holes in, which were the centres of these holes here once you had a ring in it. Now this is a ring off an R380, but it's the same. So you measure those centres there, transfer it up to there, and then we can put this on. Now it should fit. It should fit. It might be a tight fit. The lion sleeps tonight, but I don't know. Because it's a wedge action, it'll start to pull into that ring. Now I'm saying that you might be able to get it off. I'm not sure, because it's a difficult one to explain, because they're sort of like on a knife edge here. The ring sometimes is set in a little bit too far. Tricky, eh? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clamp this up and tighten it up, get some spanners. I'm going to set this up and see if it works. So the idea, what we're doing here, we're tightening up the bolts, or the nuts, until we can't tighten them up anymore. They'll come to a stop. That means they've got the maximum depth, and what it's doing is it's pulling in but at the same time it's pushing out the collar a little bit, so we've got a head start. There we go. Now, so that's tight onto there. So the next thing we want to do is put our strong back on. Now these threads here are 3/8 UNC, Unified Course. They might be a little bit difficult to get started, and you want as much thread into there as possible. The bolts, the nuts are grade 8, which is a little bit stronger than a regular nut. Just a little bit, as you say, too. That's it going now. As I say, you might just have to play around with them. Could you put bolts in? No, because you don't want the bolts to go through the end and damage the actual casing. So when the bolts bottom out, these studs bottom out, you know you've got the maximum amount of stud in. Now when I did my first video, which I've now scrubbed, I thought this wasn't going to work. In fact, I had very little confidence in it working because these were only 3/8. I thought we'd need something a little bit stronger. So here we go. Now I've got a ratchet spanner here. I haven't got them quite even, have I? Let's see a minute. Yeah, that's better. So I didn't think this was going to work. But we'll turn it like that so you can get a good view. Perhaps I've got two cameras going, whether I'll use two or not, don't know. And a ratcheting spanner. Even Stevens. And you'll find it actually does come off. Now, you may damage the ring taking it off, but at least you've got it off, and the rings are actually cheap. Now I actually thought of buying a two-legged puller that would go under there and pull it off, but I didn't want to spend like, you know, $75 on a tool just to show you guys that it might work. It might not. But this, I can use this for lots of other things. Now these came on special at Prince's Auto, so I bought 3 of them. If anybody's interested, let me know. Because they're not available in the shop. You can get them online, and perhaps Harbour Freight have them too. Takes time. But they do, it does come off. Sometimes they're a lot tighter than this. Could you use this on an R380? Can't see the reason why not. I haven't got an R380 here to test. I think we're about there. There you go. So, now let me get these off. On this one here, somebody's put the seal a little bit too deep, so somebody's been into this before. And as you can see on here, the spline is absolutely perfect. All I want to do is get into this and check, see if everything's okay. Turns nice, but there's no selector on it, so I don't really know what it's like. So there you go. That's it grabbed in. And it grabs really nice. That's the way to do it. Now, a lot of you are going to be asking, why is it about this nut here? Why has it got a thread on the end? Well, the R380s doesn't. The LT77 came in lots of different varieties. and principally it was started off life as a two-wheel drive car transmission. This housing was different. It came out here, and this was to attach the flange for your prop shaft. So your prop shaft flange went on this spline, tightened on with this nut. However, when they came to make this idea, when it bolted onto an LT230, they just kept the old shafts. They didn't modernise them, and neither did they modernise the gear. And that was its downfall. The gears weren't drilled to let oil onto this spline, so they used to chatter and wear out. Now, even on the R380s, what they did was they made this spline longer, thinking, well, that might cure it. And it didn't, and all it took was a little hole drilled in the gears, in the input gear, and to solve that problem. Nowadays, they're all just, you know, they're all drilled anyway, but occasionally you do find them. Like I found one this week in this LT230. Wait a minute. Look at that. Disco 1, no hole. Strange, isn't it? And it didn't have the little plate to let all oil through. So I hope that's going to be helpful for you. What I'll do in a further video is I'll take this transmission to bits, because I have to do an order from the UK for parts. I have an awful lot of LT77 stuff I want to use up, so this is going to be useful. But we'll pull it to pieces in a separate video, see what it's like. We might not need much at all, because I've got a sneaking feeling somebody's been into this before, and it might be okay. So anyway, I hope you like that. It could be a possibility, and if you want one of these and you can't find one, let me know. They are heavy for shipping, but like I said, they seem to be discontinued out of the shop on the shelf, but Princess Auto have them online for some bizarre reason. I don't know why. They must have shed loads of them. Could be discontinued, I don't know. Anyway, I'm glad we can get those off now kind of easy. See you later.